Good morning, members, to those in the chamber and those online, and good morning to the staff members and in the chamber and those online. We just before we begin, I'd like to just say a few words, just to on behalf of the elected members. I'd like to convey the respects of this council to the family of two councillors who passed away recently, Paddy Conway and William Carter. Paddy was respected and admired well beyond his native Inniscrone, a community he served with distinction over the course of his long career in public life. He was first elected to Sligo County Council in 1967 and would serve for 23 years before retiring in 1999. Paddy also had the honour of serving as Cathaoirleach in 1991. And William Carter was elected to the council as an independent candidate also in 1967 and served for a brief spell before emigrating to England, with William McGlone being co-opted to his place. William is the father of Nigel Carter, of our IT staff and broadband. So our Yeshe Grow Anam. Councillor Queenan.
Cathaoirleach, I'd like to be associated with both former councillors, but in particular by me to my predecessor, Councillor Paddy Conway, who served, as you said, Sligo County Council from 1967 to May of 1999. He predeceased me, and Paddy was made a huge contribution to his native West Sligo and to the council. As you said, he was director on Fáilte, this was. He was former chairman of this Cathaoirleach of this council and served on numerous bodies, including the VEC. On a personal level, he was a lifelong member of the PTA, which I was very proud of. He was a great sportsman. He was involved in rugby, soccer, golf and Gaelic football. And he leaves behind 6 lovely daughters and a wife who looked after him with great care in recent years, his wife Breach. And I want to thank the county manager, all the staff and the elected members and former elected members who came out and paid tribute to Paddy and his family at his funeral. So I'd like to ask that the council will say adjourned for this meeting later.
Councillor Bree.
Cathaoirleach, I wish to be associated with the vote of sympathy and the proposal to adjourn the business of the meeting. As has been pointed out, Paddy Conway was first elected to the council back in 1967, and the fact that he was re-elected at every subsequent election in 1974, 1979, 1985, 1991, up until he retired from local government in 1999, I think was a clear indication of the support he had among the people of Inniscrone and West Sligo. In addition to serving on the council, he was also a member of County Sligo VEC, the Sligo Local Health Advisory Committee and numerous other statutory bodies. He was to the forefront in campaigning for additional infrastructure and for significant improvements in West Sligo. He played a leading role in promoting the construction of the promenade in Inniscrone. He was very proud to have played a part in seeing the completion of the Lough Easkey water supply scheme, and he was particularly pleased when the water point facility he had championed for so long was opened in Inniscrone. His commitment to the people of West Sligo was beyond question, and as has been pointed out, he had the distinction of serving as Cathaoirleach of the council in 1990 when he gave exemplary service to the people of County Sligo. Paddy and I certainly didn't share the same political ideology, and on occasions that led to some animated and spirited debates in the council chamber. However, despite our political differences, like the great majority of councillors, we always got on extremely well together outside the confines of the council chamber. And I wish to join with you, Cathaoirleach, in offering my sympathy to Paddy's wife and to his family and to his friends. I also wish to be associated with the vote of sympathy to the family of William Carter of Scarden, who passed away on the 29th of August. As you say, Mr. Carter represented the Sligo Strand Hill area as an independent councillor for a short period in the late 1960s. Thank you, Cathaoirleach.
Thanks, Councillor Bree. Councillor Clark.
I also would like to be associated with the votes of sympathies to both former families of the former councillors. And while I didn't know Councillor Carter, I knew Paddy Conway quite well. He was an able ovator. He was a man of great passion and as Councillor Bree says, delivered many monuments in the West Sligo area, such as the water scheme, such as Waterpoint and such as the development of Eastleigh to one of the greatest tourist towns in the northwest. He also went on to serve as ministerial secretary for minister in a Fianna Fáil government, Mr. Moffat, and it's a role that he done extraordinarily well, representing government on many occasions. He was a small man in stature, but a huge man in politics. And I also would like to send my sympathies to his wife and 6 daughters. And he made a queer decision when he picked his replacement in Councillor Queen, and I think that was his final act. So to both families, I wish them all the support and sympathy that I can. Thanks, Ciarán.
Thank you. Here, look, on behalf of the Fianna Fáil grouping, I would like to support the comments of my colleagues, and that this council would stand adjourned as a mark of respect to both men who served on this council. Paddy Conway was, as has been said, small in stature, but larger than life character. And I know when I started being involved in Fianna Fáil through my mother, he was always very encouraging for anybody who showed signs that they maybe have an interest in serving as a councillor, and he certainly gave me whatever support he could. He was a larger-than-life character at all our Fianna Fáil meetings, and was greatly missed when he stopped attending them due to ill health. To the Carter family of Scardon, I would like to offer my deepest sympathy also to them on the death of their father, and especially to Nigel, who's a colleague of ours here in Sligo County Council. Thank you, Ciarán.
Thank you, Councillor Grady. Councillor Casserly.
Thank you, Chair. I would also like to be associated with the votes of sympathy. I didn't know either men, but from what I hear, what's been spoken about and what's been in the press, they were both fantastic community men. Councillor Conway in particular, he was an avid supporter of all of Sligo, but particularly West Sligo as a fantastic place to visit and live, and he was right there. He'll be missed by family and friends and wider community of West Sligo, and also to Councillor, the family of Councillor Carter and Nigel. He will be missed, and just condolences to everybody. Ar Yeshe Garawa Hanam Jeelish.
Thank you, Councillor Casserly. Councillor Mullaney.
Thanks, Ciarán. I want to be associated with the votes of sympathy and the adjournment as a mark of respect for both councillors. I didn't serve with Paddy Conway, but I was on the County Development Board with him, and I found him a great representative for the county and for West Sligo. He was passionate about developing his native Innisgrowan and Eastleigh, and he was someone that made a huge contribution through a long political career, and I want to extend my sympathy to his wife and 6 daughters, and also to Nigel Carter on the death of his father, William. Thanks for that.
Thanks, Councillor Mullaney. Councillor Mulvey.
Thanks, Ciarán. I also too wish to be associated with the votes of sympathies on the passing of both former councillors, Councillor William Carter and Councillor Paddy Conway. But in particular, Paddy Conway, who I would have got to know when I first went for election in 99 in West Sligo. I found Paddy to be one of life's true gentlemen, very, very friendly, very, very helpful, and certainly an awful lot of people that I encountered, have a great memory as, a true champion of a lot of issues in West Sligo, and the many people that he helped along the way. I certainly, wish to extend my sympathies to his family, and also to our colleague in Sligo County Council, Nigel Carter, on the passing of his father. Nigel is very helpful to all the elected members, and my sympathies to both families at this sad time, and I wish to be associated with the adjournment of the meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Fox.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you, Chair and members. Yeah, I too want to be associated with the adjournment of this meeting as a mark of respect to the late Paddy Conway and Nigel Carter. I didn't know either men, but I've heard a lot about both of them. And I believe Paddy was a man of great style, and he was very well respected amongst his community over there in West Sligo, and done a lot for his rural-based community over there. He'd be sadly missed. My condolences to his wife Bridge and his extended family. And I'd also like to offer my condolences to the Carter family. I know Nigel there he does Trojan work there in the council, and I want to offer my condolences to the family there as well. So thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Foss. Councillor Walsh.
Here, look, I too want to join with the previous remarks and extend sympathy to my work colleague Michelle on the death of her father, former Councillor Conway, sisters Marion, Kathleen, Paula and Aoife, and also join with the vote of sympathy to the Carter family, Nigel, on the death of his father, Willie. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Gibbons.
Got here, like, on behalf of the Sinn Féin, the contingent here within this chamber, I didn't know either of the councillors that was there. Reality, though, I had heard a lot about Paddy Conway. I've read up on him long before I was elected. Paddy retired when I was first elected to the Borough Council in 1999. But I would like to be associated with the vote of sympathy, the adjournment of the meeting, and I'd like to be associated with the previous speakers and the condolences to the family. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Councillor Gibbons. Councillor Connell.
Thanks, Cahir. Look, I too didn't know either of these two men, but I would like to be associated with the vote of sympathy to both families, and to give my condolences to the Conway and Carter family on their recent losses. Go Michael.
Thanks, Councillor Connolly. Councillor Boyle.
Thank you, Chair. I'd also like to be associated with all the comments. I didn't know either men, but from what everybody speaks of them very highly, so I'd like to offer my sympathies.
Thanks, Councillor Boyle. Councillor Gilroy.
To finish up, I suppose I'm probably last in the line, and I suppose I'm one of the babies of this council, but he was one of the fathers of
baby.
He was the father of Fianna Fáil in this council chamber for a long number of years. I think he was Paddy was the longest, was a long time serving there. He had a very long service to all of rural County Sligo, and I think his great interest in rural housing and housing in rural areas was to be commended. He was a great supporter of other people in Fianna Fáil, both in the county and outside, and a good friend of mine in Ballina, whose mother was a mayor of Ballina, said he was a great help to her. He was Fianna Fáil all his life, and he maybe wasn't a big fan of some of the other political ideologies, as Declan said, and even at the funeral, Declan conveyed to me, I won't say it in the chamber, a little pet name that Paddy had for Declan. But he appears to have got on, irrespective of that, with everybody outside, and that could be seen by the great turnout at his funeral. Myself and Councillor Queenan were just in the porch of the church, and we helped a lady out with a buggy during Ray McSharry's talk about his life's work, and she said to us, God help you lads, he's only at 1966 yet. So he had a full life of service. With regard to William Carter, I'd like to be associated with that, and I suppose most of us here wouldn't have known William Carter, but I think if Nigel is an apple that fell from the tree, then he's certainly a great ambassador to what his father stood for. So my sympathies to both families. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Gilroy. C.
Thank you, Cahir. Look, yes, on behalf of the staff of Sligo County Council, we wish to be associated with the sympathies to both the Conway and Carter families. Thank you.
Thanks, C. Now I have a proposal for an adjournment, but just before we adjourn, I with the agreement of the members, I'd just like to take item 6. It's to set dates for holding A, municipal district meetings to consider the draft budgetary plan, and B, the Sligo County Council 2022 budget meeting.
I propose we go with the dates that were circulated.
I'll second it.
That's okay. When are we adjourning to? Are we adjourning to set a date for the adjournment? Next Monday. I think there's a Sligo Drumkiff municipal meeting next Monday. Councillor Castle. You can change that. Okay.
And I want to give my apologies for next Monday. I have a family wedding. One of my sons is getting married, so I won't be here.
You could zoom in. Could. So are we agreed on next Monday? So, and is everyone agreed on the dates that were circulated so for the meetings? Okay, that's agreed as well. And just one more thing. The CEO just wants to have a quick word just before we adjourn.
Yeah, I just really to bring members up to date with what's happening at a national level. It's to do with lost income and additional costs around the COVID measures. As you're aware, the rates waiver has been allowed up to Q3 for businesses, and last year we would have received income from central government for lost income that was incurred in additional costs. As it stands at the moment, within the sort of estimates situation that's going on at a national level, it looks like we won't be receiving lost income for the period of COVID earlier this year, and also will not be getting additional income for the costs that were incurred. So that's in and around about €1 million for Sligo County Council. So really just want to make members aware, and we will be doing more work on this, but we will need probably to start looking at service delivery if that income is not forthcoming for the rest of the year. So I thought, and this was, I know we needed to adjourn the meeting, but I thought it was a really important message that I needed to tell you today, that we're starting to look into this. That's the situation around the COVID measures that were put in place earlier this year. Thank you, Cahirlock.
Okay, Councillor Walsh.
Yeah, and I suppose I was aware that I thought the figure was in around 600,000 relative to last.
Point of order.
Yeah.
We agreed to adjourn the business.
Yeah.
And I know this is a very important issue, and perhaps we'd have it first item on the agenda next week. But
I think I agree with that. I do agree with that. And look, that I think it needed to be said, but you're correct, Councillor Bree, you are. Okay, so this meeting is adjourned to next Monday.